Coming up today on That LTD Life, I'm going to be showing you around Kosmic AI. This is a brand new lifetime deal that just hit AppSumo, and it's a complete suite of video production tools. You can do everything inside of this thing. You can script your video, you can record your video, you can edit the video. There's even a built-in project management system, very similar to something like Trello, where you get Kanban systems. You can drag the cards between different columns. Overall, it's a very, very ambitious tool. In this video, I'm going to show you every single part of the tool so you can understand whether or not it's a good fit for your business. My name is Dave, by the way, and I review lifetime deals every day of the week. This video is sponsored by AppSumo. I want to thank them for their continued support of this channel, but you should know that this will be an impartial review. I'm going to point out things I like about Kosmic, as well as things that need a little bit of improvement. If you want to support me and my content, make sure you click my link down below before making a purchase at AppSumo so they know that you came from my video and that their marketing dollars are going to the right place. Okay, so here is the Kosmic AI deal page on AppSumo. A few things we need to take note of. Currently, this is a Plus exclusive, which means you have to be part of AppSumo Plus in order to make a purchase, at least for the next 6 days. After 6 days, it will be available to the general public, but there will be a price increase. And thankfully, I've got some spies deep inside of AppSumo, and I can tell you exactly what that price increase will be. So there are currently 4 tiers for Kosmic AI. Now, keep in mind that if you were to buy this right now, you would get a 10% discount on the prices you're currently seeing. So for the simplicity of math, let's say you bought tier 4 at $500. That would save you 10%. You'd actually end up paying right around $450 if you buy today as an AppSumo Plus member. If you wait for general availability and you're not a Plus member, you're going to end up paying $600. So hopefully this video is helpful to you. Pay attention to the screen recordings. If you want to invest in this tool, definitely do so before general availability and the price increase. Okay, more on the plans and pricing later on. For now, let's dive right into Kosmic. When you log into Kosmic for the first time, you're going to go to their Launchpad. This is your welcome screen, your dashboard. Essentially, what you'll see here is an overview of what you're currently working on inside of the tool. We've got these little widgets up at the top that talk about our jobs, total jobs, active jobs, pending approval, and completed jobs. Now, you might intuitively think that this is related to your projects, but it's not. This is related to their marketplace because there's a full-on Fiverr-like marketplace here where you can hire freelancers to work on your videos, or you could be a freelancer yourself and get hired to work on other people's videos. So anytime you see the word jobs throughout this platform, it's referring to those marketplace jobs, not your own internal projects. There's an Explore Talent section right here where you can find people to work on your videos. And then we've got our current tasks down below. These are our personal tasks, things that we've set up that we want to get done with certain deadlines, and you can assign them to team members, things like that. We'll go into more detail on exactly how this works momentarily, but this is the dashboard, everything you need to know. Now, the one thing I would complain about on this dashboard is there's no customized options. So if maybe I don't want to use the marketplace, I can't hide these little widgets up here. I'd love to be able to bring the current tasks a little higher up on the screen, even if I'm going to use the marketplace. I think my own personal tasks, I want to make sure I have those done. So yeah, just some ability to move things around or add or remove widgets would be a really cool thing to see in the future. Definitely something they could add in. So that's the Launchpad. Moving on to Mission Control. We've got 2 items here. We've got our projects as well as our task manager. The project section is essentially a file manager here where you get maybe a main folder for every project you're working on. And it actually creates an entire system of folders automatically inside of the main folder. If you've ever used a tool called Post Haste on the Mac, it's a very similar concept where if I create a new project, I'll call this my new project and hit create. Here is my project. And if I double click on it, I can see that automatically it's created a series of folders embedded inside of the main folder. This helps me keep my project organized. I love this idea. It's much better than just dumping all of your files into one big folder and then trying to sift through them. Back on the main project screen here, there are some filters so you can filter out just images, videos, audio. So the concept here would be maybe you've got some background music you used in a different project. You could click on audio and see all of the audio files you have across all of your projects. Pretty nice. I'd love to see a built-in player here so I could just click on the audio to preview it. But as is, you actually need to click on the triple dots and then go to properties where you can preview it over here. Now, this little inspector window is fairly useful. You can see the full name of the file. Notice it's cut off over here. You get maybe 15 characters or so before it gets cut off. So definitely relabel your media. Keep it short if you want to make it very browsable inside of Mission Control. But otherwise, we can see who has access to this particular file, what type of file it is, the size. If it was a video, it would be able to see the resolution. If it was an image, you'd be able to see the resolution as well. And there's a comment section over here where if you want to actually comment on a video, you can do that and interact with your team. So overall, very nice system. It's not flawless though. Let me show you the upload system. It has a little bit of a quirk to it, in my opinion. So I'm going to open up my new project here and I'll go into the assets folder. If I wanted to upload, let's say, I don't know, how about an image? I'll click in the images and then choose upload media. That's going to pop open my Finder here where I can find an image. Here is a WebP file. I'm going to upload this. And now you'd expect the upload to begin taking place, but instead nothing happens. But if you're astute, you might notice that the label of the button here has changed. Instead of saying upload files, it says upload one files. If I click this again, the upload process completes rather quickly. But yeah, it's definitely a not intuitive process. I think a lot of people would be like, hey, where did my files go? Nothing happens. So I'd love to see that be a little bit more of a traditional workflow, maybe even just a drop zone where I can just drop all of my media in and easily upload it. But as it is, it works just fine. Just you got to know the little quirks for it to upload. And while I'm being nitpicky, there are these breadcrumbs up at the top here. You can see I'm several folders deep at this point. I'm in the images folder, inside of assets, inside of the project folder, in the overall main projects category. So I'd love to be able to go right out to that main folder, but I can't do so. This is not clickable. If the breadcrumbs were clickable, it would be a lot easier to interact with the file system, but you've actually got to use this little back arrow to go back one at a time. A small thing, but I think it would add a big quality of life improvement to just make those breadcrumbs clickable. So that is the project section. You can add all of your media there. Next up is the task manager. Now, when you click over to the task manager, every single time it's going to default to job tasks. Remember what I said as we began looking through Kosmic? Job relates to marketplace. If you want to have internal tasks, you go over to the internal task tabs here. I'd love to have a default, by the way. I'm kind of mentioning all the features I'd like to see here. If you could default it to one or the other, I think that would be preferable to a lot of people. But essentially, once you're inside of the internal tasks tab, we can see our overview, all of the tasks we have currently that we're working on. There's a board view, kind of like Trello, where we can move things around. There's a little bit of a weird animation as I drop the card. It goes up to the top of the column and springs down. Not a big deal, but just, something to note, a little bit unusual. And we can even add additional columns here if we like. So I click that little plus button. Now I've got another column. My only real holdback here is I can't figure out a way to reorganize the columns. So you're essentially stuck with these as they are. By the way, you can't get rid of the original column. So let's say I don't want in progress. Clicking on the triple dots here, I can either create a new task or collapse the column, which makes it hidden temporarily, but there's no way to delete this or even relabel it. Whereas with the column I just created, if I click on the triple dots over here, I can rename it. I can also delete it for good. One last little weird thing in the task manager is if I click on the triple dots and I choose collapse column, well, it's collapsed, but there's no way to uncollapse it other than just reloading the page, which defaults me back to job tasks. Then I have to click internal tasks, back over to the board, and now I've got my column back. So yeah, just some minor refinements here. It seems like a bigger thing than it is. I think they could probably knock out the switches I'm mentioning here in a weekend. These are not big coding tasks, but as it is, it's currently a product that is in beta, even has the beta label here. So just keep that in mind. This is not like signing up for Adobe Premiere or a Final Cut Pro. It's definitely got some rough edges right now. And by the way, those tools don't have project management systems. So this is a complete rethinking of the way that you might produce videos. I'll point out that there is a calendar view as well. So if you add in a new task, I'm back on the Kanban board here. I add in a new task. It's gonna ask what projects it's related to. So, I'm doing my new project here. I'm gonna assign it to a team member and I can give it a priority and give it a status. One thing I don't like is that these are all required. Even the description is required. And maybe the task is just like post the video. I don't need to have a description there. But in order to actually create the task, I do. Now I've got this set. Let's go ahead and post it on the 28th or have this due on the 28th of January. If I hit save, now it's going to automatically add that. You can see it down here. My new task is visible on the calendar view on the 28th of January. So it's going to be representative of that due date. Now you can add new tasks right from the calendar view as well. I went back to the Kanban system, but there's no need to do that. I just wanted to show you that these are connected. So if you give things due dates on the Kanban, they will automatically display on the calendar view. The last part of what I consider to be their project management system is kind of like a Slack replacement. There's chat built in right up here. If I click on the little chat bubble, it pops open chat. I can add new channels, like call this general, and it can be visible to everyone or by invite only. Here's my general channel, and I can go ahead and post in here. Here's what the chat looks like. I can go ahead and react to things with emojis. I can go ahead and share an emoji to begin with. No built-in Giphy support, but you can upload your own images right here. So certainly not as comprehensive as something like Slack, where you get webhooks and a bunch of other apps and bots. But if you're just looking for a general chat tool to keep in touch with your team, this seems like a reasonable solution. Next up, we have the innovation tab. Here is where we actually do our creating. So we've got a record screen over here where it's going to go ahead and use my webcam. As you can see currently, this is my webcam on my laptop. Down below, I can choose which camera I'd like to record with, as well as choose my audio source. And if you like to, you can even record your screen. There's an option over here when you click record, whether you want to record the camera, record audio, or your screen. There is an aspect ratio option over here. This essentially sets whether you want to do 16:9, square, 9:16, so on and so forth. There's a countdown timer, so you have a little bit of a count in before the recording starts. It can be off 3 seconds, 5 seconds, or even 10 seconds. There's a nice prompter view here. So these are the words that I'm going to say. Once I've got my script loaded into the prompter, this is not the scripting section, by the way, that's still to come. I can grab the script and actually position it anywhere I like on the screen. This is really nice. So if you want to maintain eye contact with your camera, you can position the script as close as possible to that camera. Now, because you're in a web browser, you're not going to be able to get it right up next to your webcam, but it certainly looks a lot better than having it over to the side. So that is the record function. Next, let's go over to the video editor. When you launch the video editor, it's going to ask you what size resolution you want. I'm going to choose 16:9 for our testing here. And then we can bring in our contents. Now, there is templates. We can start from a template if we like, but to get started, just showing you around the editor, I'm going to do it from a blank canvas. So the first thing I might want to do is bring in some media and go over to the media folder over here, and that's going to link up to my overall project. So to do this, I can choose upload. It's going to ask if I want to do it from my computer, as in upload new media, or I can choose my file manager. That is your project. So it'd be nice if the labeling here was consistent. So I knew, okay, file manager means projects, but here are all of the folders, all of the projects that I've already created. I could go ahead and maybe I want to grab this little bit of video. I recorded it right with the tool. I could select it, then choose upload, which is a little bit confusing because we've already uploaded it, but just select it or, go ahead and import this into my project. And then it shows up over here. By the way, if you're in the middle of editing and you want to grab some new footage, there is a link to the recording section right over here. You click that and then the recorder pops up in a modal window with your project still in the background. Adding media is super easy. Just drag and drop it into the timeline and it gives it its own lane here. I can break off the audio from the video if I like. Just right click and choose separate audio. We've got a lane for our audio. I can easily edit each section individually. So you could do slightly more complex cuts here where you have maybe a new scene starting with a previous scene's audio displaying, L cuts, J cuts, things like that. Overall, very, very simple to use. I can recover that audio, collapse it back in if I hadn't messed around with the edit already. You can mute each lane over here. If I were to bring in maybe an image up here, it's going to get its own lane. So this really does feel a lot like a nonlinear editor, a Final Cut Pro, a DaVinci Resolve, something like that. Now, there are built-in images and stock media, things like that. We can find right over here under Elements. It's divided up into stock video, photos, Giphy, stickers, and emojis. So if you're doing some Instagram content, something like that, and you want to add in some stickers, very easy to do so here. Just grab the sticker you like, position it where you want it to go on your video, give it its own lane. So it's going to go above this video right here, drag and drop, and then I've got my sticker. I can see what it looks like on the screen, and I can select it and even resize it. Gives me some handlebars. I can make this a lot smaller, position it wherever I want it to go. We also have background removal. So we've got a photo of a horse right here. I'm going to drop it into my video. I can select it over here. I'll go to their smart tool and choose auto removal. That's auto background removal. You can see down here, it is removing the background of the horse. If I move my playhead over the horse, you can see it has now been eliminated from the background. Yeah, I'd say in general, the editor is very functional. If I wanted to, say, split a clip in half in order to cut a section out, I just position the playhead where I want it to go and then choose the little split icon over here or use the key command S. That splits the clips, and now I could trim each side independently. Like I could grab the front half and bring it here to the end. If you get a lot going on your project and you need to make the editing section a little bit bigger, you can easily resize it. It's kind of easily. As you move your mouse over, you'll see the selector change. It's very, very temperamental, but once you do that, you can make this a little bit bigger. It's not going to get as large as, let's say, your nonlinear editor where you've got multiple monitors and you can maybe break that off into its own window. You can't quite do that, but you can make it pretty big. There's a lot of other options here. I can't go into absolutely every one, but there's a speed tool so you can re-speed things. You can control the audio on individual components. Yeah, a lot of deep features that you would not necessarily expect to see inside of a web-based video editor. Overall, fairly impressive. Now, what gets a little bit confusing about this editor is once you're done, there's no way to save your project. What you have to do is export it, which is not very intuitive. I'd love to see a save button up here, but if I click export up at the top, I can share this as a template or download it down below. What you want to do if you want to come back to work on this later is share it as a template, save it inside of one of your projects. So I'm going to save it inside of Dave here. We'll go to the next screen. Choose whether this is a public template or a private template. It does default to private. Give it a name. And then you also have to give it a description that is required and hit save. Now it's exporting the template. It says, don't close your browser while it's happening. All right, now I can leave the browser completely. Let's say I go back to the main screen here. If I were to just jump right back into the editor, so I go to the innovation tab and then go to the video editor, I'd get a blank project again. So what I'd actually want to do this time is go under templates. So Innovation Lab, templates. Now there are a bunch of templates that they give you, but what you want to do is find yours. So go to My Templates, and here is my demo template, which I can scrub through and see, yep, in fact, this is the one that I was working on. Now the templates always preview in this 9:16 format. It'd be nice if they adjusted to be respective of whatever the project was that you were working on, because you can see here stuff is cropped off. I might think, oh, there's a mistake with this template. This can't be the right one. But in fact, it is. If I want to go back and make changes to it, I'll choose Use Template, and it pops me back into the editor exactly where I left off. So overall, not my favorite system, honestly, but it does work. It does get you the results that you want. Kind of like the file upload, you just need to know about the little quirks to be aware of. So that's the video editor section. We do have a script editor down here. In my experience, this isn't necessarily the most useful section of the tool. It's essentially just a big word processor where you can write your script. You are limited to 2,000 characters here, which is not a terribly long script in my opinion. Or you can utilize AI to generate the script for you. But from my experience, their script generation leaves a little bit to be desired. Like here is a prompt. It says, write a script about the rise and fall of MySpace, cover the creation to the acquisition by Justin Timberlake and his team. Now I'm gonna hit generate script. You can see here, I'm only using 120 characters out of the 2,000 that they allow. Kind of interesting that, let me just toggle back and forth here. The manual script generation allows the same number of characters as the AI script. So that's just a weird quirk to me, but let's go ahead and generate the script here. It's going to use AI. I don't know what model they're using, but I have to believe it's probably a really, really early LLM. We're certainly not getting cutting edge stuff here, which you'll be able to see in a moment as the script just kind of peters off and we don't have a conclusion. You can just read the last line. It says, today, MySpace remains a nostalgic reminder of the early days of, and then we don't get anything further. So yeah, definitely a little bit disappointing there. Probably get better results even just using the free version of Claude or ChatGPT. Now, what you can do from here, which is more useful, is actually generate audio from your script. So create your script, import it, then click on the generate audio button. You can choose from one of their built-in voices. They've got quite a few of them. They're fairly high quality. Here is one.
Ideas are the beginning points of all fortunes.
Here's another.
Our distrust is very expensive.
And a third.
It is not so important to know everything as to appreciate what we learn.
So pretty good sounding voices, and you can use those to read your scripts if you don't want to be on camera. So yeah, the real power of the script section over here is AI audio generation, which brings us nicely into our next feature here, which is AI video creation. Here we can create an entire video, basically give it a concept, and it will do all of the work for us. Now, I've already tested out this feature, and a little quirk is I can't get into the video that I already created from this main screen. I can see it's all projects, and I've got my template here that I created, but I can't open it up. The only way I can find to get back into the video that I used during my testing was to go to the notifications here, and then it let me know when the AI video was ready. If I click view details, it opens it up in the editor. I suppose what I'd actually need to do is actually export this as one of my own templates so that I can access it again later. Yeah, just not a great system. Just give me a save button and that would solve everything. But I digress. Let's actually go through the creation process. So I'm going to click on Generate AI Video right over here. First thing I need to do is choose a mode. So we can use Flux for image generation. You can also use Pixabay if you want to use stock videos. There's Flux, Flux Pro, Sana, and Photon for the image generation. Then you go through and choose a aspect ratio, 9:16, 16:9, or square. We've got quality selectors here all the way up to 1080p. Duration, 15 seconds to 60 seconds. So no long form videos here. We're definitely dealing with short form content. And then video styles. Personally, don't love the choices of video styles. We've got anime, nature, or horror. This seems rather limiting. I did encounter a weird quirk where if I choose manage, you get the option to create your own. It looks like there's a plus button here, but nothing happens. If I enter in some information and a preset setting, yeah, you can't save anything here. I'll just call this test and test. Hit save. It looks like it's going to save everything, but then you come back and it's all gone. So yeah, it looks like they didn't quite finish this part of the tool, to be honest. We're in beta, folks. We're in beta. On the voiceover section, we can choose from the same list of voices that we heard previously inside of the scripts area. So go ahead and choose the narrator for your video. And then you've got caption styles. This is where I really ran into the biggest problem with the AI video creation. The captions that came out did not look as I expected. So I chose this Hormozy 1 option, and I'll show you what the video actually looks like in a moment. But essentially, we just need to add in a prompt here, and then it's going to go ahead, create a storyboard. You'll be able to edit that and it'll actually produce the video. So what I think I'd like to do is just show you the video that's already been created and you can see the output. So the prompt that I gave was similar to what you saw earlier in the video where I asked it to make a video about the rise and fall of MySpace. And here is the video it created. I asked for a 9:16, so short form content, mobile phone view. And I asked for it to be 720p and 60 seconds long. It actually gave me a video that is 1 minute and 41 seconds long. Let's go ahead and watch this now.
In the early 2000s, a new player emerged in the social media landscape. Born from the ashes of Friendster, MySpace was founded by Chris DeWolf and Tom Anderson, two entrepreneurs with a vision to create a platform where users could express themselves freely, connecting with others who shared similar interests.
Okay, so what you can see is that the captions themselves are very, very hard to read. I chose that Hormozy preset, but it put it on such a weird looking font that you really can't read what's going on here. The only thing that was slightly readable was the first one, which I changed myself, but when I changed the font, it kind of moved it into a weird position on the screen. So yeah, overall, it's a cool concept, but you still are gonna have to go through and do some manual editing, which you can do, by the way. Very easy to select a caption over here. I can move it where I want it to go. It's basically too big, so I need to resize it, maybe put it over here where it's easier to read, and then move on to the next title, do the same thing. So I go under my basic text options over here. I can choose the font. Let's say we made it Arial or Open Sans, maybe turn off that stroke, which makes it really hard to read. And then you can scale it to make it a little bit larger. Yeah, overall, it's just gonna take some time to go through and get these captions to look good, whereas I'd hope they do them automatically. But otherwise, the video itself isn't terrible. Now, it's got some maybe peculiar choices for stock video where we've got this lady putting on some makeup when we're talking about MySpace. But what is it supposed to choose there? I'm not really sure. We do have access to the full editor. So if it does make a choice that you don't quite agree with, like I want to remove the lady doing her makeup, I could select it right here. And there is a replace option. It's this one right here in the editor. I could just choose replace, and then I could upload my own video to go there. It'd be really cool if it popped us open into the media section where we could choose our existing footage or choose something from the elements, the stock video. I think that would work really nicely. But of course, you could just do this manually, find some stock video that you want, drop it in, resize it, and then you could even just delete the existing one. Now this new video is 9:16, so I'd have to stretch it out. You get the point. Okay, so that's everything in the innovation lab. Let's go ahead and just check out the marketplace quick here. These marketplaces are really hard to launch successfully because they depend on having high quality workers available for reasonable rates in order for it to be attractive. And if it's not attractive, no one's going to sign up because no one's getting hired. And, it's just kind of a vicious cycle there, right? So if I go under Explore Talent, you can see there's not a lot of talent available right now. It's like 10 people that have signed up to be available. Oh, actually just loaded 2 more. So now I've got 12 people available. But this is literally everything. I don't have any filters on. So if I'm looking for a photography person, there's no one available. If I'm looking for a voiceover person, there's no one available there. So this is either a great opportunity, as a lot of people will be signing up through AppSumo, or it's just a part of the tool that will eventually fade off. And it's kind of up to you to decide which way that goes, because if you don't buy this tool and sign up to be a service provider, well, I could see this part just fizzling out, and they focus mostly on the software end of it, which honestly wouldn't be a bad decision in my opinion. Now, these profiles that you're seeing here, you actually can create one yourself. Let's open up Jeremy here. He is in Columbia, United States, and I can see his little about section, his education and his experience, as well as his rates and everything are usually displayed. So what you can do to create your own is just go over to your profile over here and then just fill out this little bio, and you can have a profile just like Jeremy. So that's how the profiles work. So how do you go about hiring someone? Well, it all begins with creating a job. So even if you find someone on the Explore Talent page, if you want to work with them, let's say I want to hire Ash here. If I hit invite, I need to choose a job for them to work on. So to do this, you go over to manage jobs here, post a job. You'll have to agree to some terms. They are going to take 10% here as a way to kind of monetize this platform, thinking very much along the lines of Fiverr, Upwork, those types of things. So you hit agree, you'll fill out a little form to create your job posting, and then people can either apply to those jobs or you can reach out to them through the Explore Talent section. You'll be able to keep an eye on anybody you've hired previously under My Hires, and then you can also favorite talent. So while I'm exploring, let's say I wanted to keep an eye on Jeremy here, I'll give him the little heart, and then under favorite talent, he displays right there. So that is Kosmic AI. Let's dig into the plans and pricing. So there are 4 tiers available from $69 all the way up to $499. Remember that a price increase is coming. So if you're seeing this later on and these are all more expensive, that is why. So we get all of the features with every single plan. It's just limited based on how much you use the tool. So AI credits per month. These will be used for videos, scripts, and captions. Tier 1 gives you 70 all the way up to 500 credits over on Tier 4. I made this video using Tier 3, meaning 300 credits, and I did generate that AI video, so I'm now down to 273 credits available. Overall, it's taking about maybe around 30 credits to produce one video. Of course, that is going to change depending on what settings you use, how high of quality it is, and so on and so forth. Now, in addition to those credits, you're also limited on the number of minutes that you generate. So for me on Tier 3, I get 60 minutes of generation per month. We're also limited on the number of scripts we generate per month, anywhere from 70 all the way up to 500. And the captions are also limited as well. So while I'm all good with these limits, I think they could simplify it for the users a little bit. So you're already limiting me based on the number of credits I have available. Why also limit me based on how many minutes per month, so on and so forth? Just make the credits represent the minutes and do away with all of these other limitations. I think that would be a lot more user-friendly and probably get them more signups Just making it too complex and too limiting is not always a good thing. Now, I demonstrated the background removal tool where I removed the background from the horse earlier in this video. You get 10 of those on tier 1. And as soon as you get to tier 3, that becomes unlimited. Video quality also has some limitations here. So tiers 1 and 2, you get 1080p. If you move up to tiers 3 and 4, that goes to 4K. Your video length has some limits as well, anywhere from 10 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the plan that you choose. How many videos you actually export is also limited, anywhere from 5 to 40 exports per month. Then we've got our upload size and our storage size. So on tier 1, you get 2 gigs of each. On the higher end plan, tier 4, you get 8 gigs and 20 gigs. There's a user system, so you can delegate tasks within your team. We saw that on the project management system. You can go anywhere from 1 to 20 users, depending on the plan you pick. And then all of the other features are exactly the same here. We get unlimited templates, unlimited stock videos, the Kosmic stock audio, teleprompter, video recorder, a workspace, just one. So this is not an agency tool. Messages and notifications, that's that chat system, the task manager, the marketplace, and no watermarking on any of your videos. All right, I'm gonna give you my final score in a moment, but I wanna remind you, if you've enjoyed this content, make sure you click on my AppSumo link down below to help support my channel. Also, consider getting subscribed. If you watch this far, you must be enjoying this content. You must want to know more about the best tools for your online business. Get subscribed to stay up to date with that. So overall, I think Kosmic AI is a very exciting tool. The word I keep coming back to is ambitious. They are really tackling a lot here. And you know what? They've done a big chunk of the work already, but it's going to take probably 6 months to a year of refinement to really get this thing dialed in. So just know that it's currently in beta if you're signing up now. Hope, give it as much support and suggestions as you can so that they can further refine the tool. I'm gonna go ahead and give Kosmic AI a 6.6 out of 10. That's gonna do it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, click that like button down below. Leave me a comment, even just for the algorithm. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.